let's take a look at the SPY. We'll do a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly look. So we're up near 610 back in, January, February, March. You can see that. And then we had the drop, and then we bounced a little bit here to like 580-ish, almost 580, 76. Then the big drop down to the low, the hollow candle low. I told my other videos, I keep my candles a certain way. Like a hollow candle at a low is almost always a buy, certain position. See this? Buy, little move here, but it's the way you set it up on your, whatever screen you use. I use TC2000, so you can set up different ways. But so the low here, 481.80. 2,900 point day, we bounced. Then we look like, oh, it's not working. We're going back down. I thought we were going to the lows. A lot of people did. Then that one candle, I think what happened today, Trump said something or whatever happened, then that was the liftoff day. We crossed over, and then we go all the way up to close to 600. Where was this at? This was 596. Small pullback. Trump speaks again, delaying tariffs. We pop. Now we really pop because of the court rule that strikes down Trump's tariff. So court ruling, and Trump is now appealing. So we'll see how this plays out. So you have, that is going to happen. It's probably going to go to like Supreme Court, whatever highest level of court. I guess it's Supreme Court, right? So, and then we have this move. Excuse me. Then, so now we have the two candles here. We have a crossover. You're pretty much near that 611 high, over 611. So V recovery. This is a classic move. We get big volatility at the bottom, some sort of capitulation, and that was it. Now looking at the weekly, you can see here. So it was almost like a double top, 1, 2, and then we went all the way down. Look at that candle. Now on the weekly, look at this. So look at your high. Went down. We looped back up, but he didn't reach that high, so the strength was getting decreasing. Then we went all the way down. You're talking a low here of 1070 on stochastics. It's pretty low. Bounce all the way up. Now, if the bounce didn't work, we should have been lower than that. So we surpassed that. Still going up. Yeah, it's a total V recovery now, so that's another move on the weekly. The monthly chart, you look back, we're just in a constant uptrend. That move here in 2020, of course, 2022, sort of went sideways and eventually powered all the way up. The low here, too, was on stochastics on this monthly, 1901. Now we came out of overbought zone, and look at this. We're at 67, turning completely sideways. It's, very bullish, but doesn't mean it's over. This could change and go back down, so you got to be aware of that. But, it's looking very strong. You have this candle right here now. We're next to the high, so that's how it's looking. Look back at the quarterly, too. The biggest moves on the... Let's actually get back to monthly. Give me 1 second here. So the monthly, going back to the .com explosion, of course. Everything blew up, .com error. The big collapse. Look how low we were on stochastic. So it's below that 50 line. And then you have financial crisis was even worse. And then you had 2022 was very steep. So you're talking the last 25 years, basically. Financial crisis, .com, and then 2022. All these other moves. See this? Were, decent moves down in the market. Went to this 50 line. That's my middle line. 50, 50. And then we bounced the whole time. So this is only at 67, so it's not really that much. Quarterly chart. The deepest move on the quarterly was the .com crash. This went way down there deep. And this was at 926 stochastics on a quarterly. Financial crisis was, where are we at? 1482. And then you had 2022 is 5885, and then some other ones. But they were extremely low, if you see this. We're way up here, 8820, so nothing doing here. This looks like it's turning and might sideways go up. The other thing you see here is this top line of the .com error, all the way up. We're at the top line again. We've been hanging around this top line, pulled back, bounced. So we haven't been to, the low line since COVID. Look at COVID. We're hovering on that low line. So that's the financial crisis 2009. So you have the low line, and this goes, if you hit that low line 596.60, that would be 300. Middle line, you're talking 475, 450. We keep hitting that high line. So I don't like that high line. Yeah, I want this to go back down and somewhere in the middle. But it's not good always to buy at the high line, because look at this. Every time we've been high, we went lower. So we haven't had a major move low since that COVID move. We just going higher and higher without retesting a big move down. That's what the market's doing. It's not going to happen right now. And the yearly, you see, really from 2014, about 2015, 10 years now, we've been in 90 to 100 hot zone on stochastics. Meaning it's not even come close to going down to 80, 70, 50. You had, it looks like, financial crisis was on the lowest points. Doesn't pick up here. It probably was low here too on .com error. So you're staying in this hot zone. So the whole time when people calling for end of the world, recession, crashes, I mean, we've had decent pullbacks, but in the yearly scheme of things, look at this. We haven't moved down. This hasn't been even close to a financial crisis. Yeah, 3 red candles.com was really bad. Financial crisis would have been worse, but they stopped it. So that was one big candle. You have some candles in here. COVID, that one big candle. If you take COVID out, it's been all green candles. Very small candles on some of these yearlies way back when. So it's basically been now since 2008, 17 years since something like majors happened, which is pretty amazing. And we just keep chugging along over bought zone, and it keeps going. So that's where we're at, the high zone. When will something really happen where we're down 30, 40%? It's hard to say what'll eventually happen. Things are building up, of course. You say housing's overbought, people's credit, their credit is at all-time high. They're behind and all that. Credit cards, auto loans. So, when will that crash? The only way that'll really crash is people start losing their jobs, I would say. Something major happens. Black Swan event. Who knows? Something's levered up in the market, housing again, or, I don't know, bonds or something. Someone pulls out another country. So, it's very hard to say, but it's been amazing we've gone up. Except that COVID, but that was, not by anyone, just a freak thing, a black swan event. And then we've been going up and away. So it's pretty amazing how the market keeps going. That's why everyone calls these people TV online, say, oh, we're heading for the big crash. They're just getting clicks. You got to look at reality of what charts are doing, what financials are doing. There's no crash. Could we have kept going down if Trump put on the hammer? Probably more. I think he was all playing the whole system too, though. He was looking for what the market was doing. He saw bonds were actually going up too high, then he pulled off. It's a whole game right now. So that's where we're at. Futures right now are up 500. And we'll see if this goes back to the high, 611, even if we break that. All right, that's it. Please subscribe to Mike Heyman Trades on YouTube. Smash the like button. I'm on MJ Trades at X. Mike Heyman Trades, TikTok. Where else am I at? Instagram, Rumble, Threads. So you name it, check it out. Oh, I'm on Patreon too.